Welcome to today's lesson. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a scalping strategy that you can use to make massive profits in the market. Like you saw in the introduction of this video, at the point at which I took this current trade, that exactly is the point you are supposed to take any trade using this strategy. Now, let me explain to you how it works. As you can see, we are running in profit and we'll be expecting a spike soon. Okay, why did I say that? Because right over here we have a breaker block. Okay, we have a breaker block. Let me show you that. Okay, so right over here we have a breaker block over here. Okay, a breaker block. Can you see that? Can you see that? Okay, resistance turned support. That is a breaker block. Okay, at the point at which resistance turns support. Okay, or support turn resistance. That's a breaker block. So you have a breaker block there, and price is likely going to spike at that zone. Okay, but do not be scared of the spike, because right on the 5 minutes time frame we still have it selling, right? Okay, and right on the 15 minutes time frame we also have it selling. So do not be scared. So these are the conditions you have to look out for before taking a trade. Now, in this strategy we are using just two indicators. Okay, if we add the moving average on the main chart, that's going to make it 3. Okay, but that's just a regular one we do use every time. So we are using the MACD indicator and the relative vigor index. Okay, so when you go through your indicator window, your indicator might look a little bit confusing for you, but I'm going to show you the exact point at which you are going to use this indicator to take a trade. Okay, now the first condition that needs to be met is that the 1 minute time frame, the 5 minutes time frame, and the 15 minutes time frame, of course, need to align with each other. They must be trending in the same direction. Okay, and they should also be in the same direction with the higher time frame, like your H4 and H1. The H4 and H1, they should be selling. That's the overall trend, should be a bearish trend, right? Because we are scalping, we are trading against the spike, so the trend should not be bullish, it should be bearish. Okay, so when you've identified that the trend is bearish, now you have to wait for the point at which the 15 minutes and the 5 minutes and the 1 minute aligns with each other. Now, how this strategy work is that the MACD, this is our MACD over here. This is our MACD over here. Okay, so that's the MACD, and this is the relative vigor index. Okay, and on your main chart you have your MA, your moving average, okay, of which you used to check for, of which you used to confirm change in trend, change in direction of price. Okay, now this strategy, how it works is that we have our RSI also indicating level 90, okay, and level 10. Okay, so how the strategy work is that both indicators that is on the indicator window should be at level 90. That is the MACD, okay, which are these ones you are seeing, they should be at level 90, and the relative vigor index should also be at level 90. Okay, now when that has happened, you don't just rush into trade. Okay, now I do see some comments saying that indicators are historical data and all that. That's why I had to take this trade. Okay, when I took this trade, it was not historical, it was current price, right? It was current price. I believe you saw it at the beginning of the video. It was current price action. It's not historical data. Okay, even if sometime I have to explain with historical data, because at the time I have to make a video, maybe condition might not be right to trade and all that, so I just make the video. I see some people commenting, can you go live with this? Can you go live with this strategy so that we can see? I cannot trade to impress you. Okay, I can't trade to impress you. I give you strategy and you go out, test it, back test it, and see if it's effective, if it's something you can work with or not. Okay, so like as I was saying, the relative vigor index should be at level 90, and the MACD should also be at level 90, like we have over here. Now, I want you to take note of something. When you go through the past action of price, you will see some point at which the relative vigor index was at level 10, but the MACD was not there. Okay, you will also see it some point at which it was at level 90, but MACD was not also there. So what you should be looking out for is the exact point at which the MACD and the relative vigor index touches level 90, okay? Both on the 1 minute time frame and on the 5 minutes time frame and on the 15 minutes time frame, okay? When you see this opportunity, you have to grab it, like grab it. Yeah, you have to grab it and open up a trade, okay? Now that's what we have here. Can you see that? Let me zoom in. Can you see that? Now look at that. You can see that the relative vigor index touched level 90 and the MACD touched level 90. Now when that happened, you don't just jump into a trade like I told you. You have to wait to see the point at which the MACD bars starts shortening, okay? It starts shortening. That means it starts leaving the 90 level. Can you see that? It starts leaving the 90 level. Now, at that point, when the MACD starts shortening, you can see that here too. That point at which the MACD starts shortening, you check your chart to see if your moving average has crossed over to the other side. Then you can go into the trade. Okay? Do you understand? So that is the confirmation to tell you that the price has what actually reversed and is now trending down. Okay, you don't just jump in at the exact point which it touched. We just got a spike. Now let me show you. I told you we're going to get a spike at that point. Can you see that? Can you see that now? Let me show you. Can you see that? At that point, that breaker block point, can you see that? We got a spike, just like I told you. Can you see that? So you see, so it's good you understand your charts. It's not just working with indicator. You also have to have some understanding of how your candlesticks behave, okay? How the formation behave and the interpretation. So with time, as we go on, I'm going to break down how candlesticks behave, the meaning of all their formation and their shapes, okay? But today we are focusing on the indicators. Okay, so now let's continue. So like I said, make sure that the MACD and the relative vigor index touches the level 90 and wait for the MACD to start shortening, okay, like we saw over here. When you see that the MACD starts shortening and the relative vigor index is also bending downward, then you open up a trade and then you take massive profit. So this is exactly how this strategy works. It's easy and is not complicated and it's beginner friendly. When you are back testing and you want to check through your charts, you might be seeing, okay, now let's take a look at this place. You see over here the MACD touched right there, but the relative vigor index did not touch. Do not take a trade right there. Now we'll see other points where the relative vigor index touched it, but the MACD did not touch it. Do not take a trade at those points, okay? Now, make sure that you only take a trade when the relative vigor index and the MACD touches the 90 level and the MACD starts shortening before you open up a trade. And let's look at another condition that was met. Okay, right over here is another condition that was met. Now look over here, you can see, look at this place, you can see the MACD and the relative vigor index touching what? The 90 level. And right there, when the MACD starts shortening, you see your moving average crosses to the other side and then you open up a trade and ride massive profit. Let me zoom in closely. Can you see that? Can you see that? That both the MACD and the relative vigor index, both the MACD and the relative vigor index touched the 90 level and then the MACD started shortening. Can you see that? It started shortening right at this point. the moving average crossed over, and that is when you open up a trade and ride massive profit. So this strategy is really easy. If you want to see it clearly, you can zoom out. Okay, just zoom out, make it smaller so you see the touch clearly. Can you see that? When I zoom out, you can see the touch clearly, the point showing that there is a clear touch right there. Okay, so when that happens, you open up a trade and write massive profit. So this is the strategy. Is easy and is straightforward. I'm going to show you the setting of MACD and relative vigor index right away. So, but before we go, if you are yet to join my Telegram channel, I want you to click the link in the video, in the description of this video, and join my Telegram channel. Right there, I share educational articles that will help you build your trading skills and become confident in your trading. Now let's go check out the settings of our indicator. Okay, so these are our indicators. Right on the main chart, we have our moving average just to confirm the change in direction. Okay, and on the indicator window, we have the relative strength index, your RSI, we have the MACD and the relative vigor index. Okay, now let's check out the setting of the moving average on the main chart. So we have moving average period 9, shift is 0, method is simple, apply to median price, just take a screenshot, and then there are no levels. Okay, then your style, you choose your style color and you click on save. Okay, then the next indicator is your relative strength index, your RSI. Let's check out the setting. So your relative strength index is period 5, apply to high. Period 5, apply to high, and the levels are level 90 and level 10. Okay, then the style should be your background color. Okay, because we don't want it to be visible on our chart. Then the next indicator is your MACD right there. So let's check. So the MACD, we have the fast EMA 12, just your default setting of your MACD, right? The default setting of your MACD, fast EMA 12, the slow EMA 26, the MACD SMA 9, and apply to typical price. Take note of that. And then we have the star, the main should have the color. Okay, that's those bars you're seeing on the line, that's the color of the main, which is black. Why the signal, your own will have signal, your signal will have color over there, so you just have to make it to be your background color. I've changed mine already, so make your signal color to be your background color, white or black depending on the background you're using, and then you click on save. And the last indicator is your relative vigor index. So right there we have just a simple setting, just period 70. That's all. Just period 70, and then you choose any color you want for your style. Okay, and then you click on save. So these are the settings of your indicator, and it's massive. Can you see that right now? I'm going to close the trade. Can you see that right now we have a reversal? Can you see that? Because of this breaker block over here. So when you see breaker block on your chart, know that spike is likely going to occur over there. Even if you are trading VIX, if it's volatility indices you are trading, and you approach your price and price approaches a breaker block, you should know that there's going to be a reversal. The reversal could be for a short period or a longer period depending on the analysis of the higher time frame. Okay, and now look at this right at the point where the breaker block occurred and where the spike occurred. Let me move let me move this over here. So right there where the spike occurred, and right where we have our breaker block, you can see that the MACD and the relative vigor index touched level 10. Can you see that? So this strategy can also be used to It can also be used to catch spikes, okay? It can also be used to catch spikes, but sometimes it doesn't, both of them, they don't often, both indicators don't often align. So instead of you waiting for a period where you get that alignment, you just go for the scalping, okay? You make more money scalping the little candles more than spike. You don't know? Most of you are always chasing after spikes. Do you know that you could lose more money while you are waiting for one spike to occur? But when you are scalping, you make more money if you enter rightly, just like we have over here. Can you see that? So this is this strategy, and you want to go and backtest it. When you are confident enough, then you can go live with it. Okay, so this is how to use the strategy. If you got value from this video, I want you to hit the subscribe button, like this video, drop a comment in the comment section, and tell me the next strategy you want me to talk about. Thank you for watching. Bye.